Ladies and gentlemen, what just happened on live television is sending shockwaves through New York and across the country. Zohran Mamdani, this is the man that the media once painted as a harmless democratic socialist, just said the quiet part out loud and got caught. And guess what, guys? President Trump was right all along, because tonight America just got a glimpse of what real communism looks like, dressed up in woke progressive language. Mamdani didn't just slip up. In fact, he exposed himself. Not like that, but he exposed himself talking about seizing the means of production, government-run grocery stores, and abolishing private property. Right there, live on TV, guys. And so while President Trump has been mocked for calling him a 100% communist lunatic, the video evidence now proves that Trump was absolutely right. The facade is crumbling, the mask is off, and the people of New York are furious. Big Apple owners, retirees, even immigrant shopkeepers who escaped real communism, they're warning America that this is exactly how it starts. So tonight, I'm going to go ahead and break down exactly every explosive moment that just happened, from the leaked footage to the voter backlash, and more importantly, showing exactly why this may be the most dangerous mayoral scandal New York has ever seen. Hit the like button, subscribe, guys. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear will make your jaw drop. And you're not going to believe this, but the clip that just resurfaced may go down as one of the biggest political self-owns in New York history. It's from 2021, back when Zohran Mamdani sat in a very cozy CNN interview talking about equity and justice. But then the line that blew everything wide open: the end goal is seizing the means of production. Seizing the means of production, guys. That's not a slogan. That is a blueprint. That is the blueprint of every communist revolution in modern history. And now, years later, it's resurfacing just days before the mayoral election, with Mamdani leading in the polls. Refugees from Cuba, Venezuela, and Eastern Europe are speaking out, warning Americans right now, today, that we have seen this movie before, and it ends in breadlines, fear, and poverty. The so-called democratic socialist is now being exposed as something far more radical. Now, conservatives are pointing out that no matter how he dresses this thing up, this is Marxism 101. Property isn't just wealth, it's freedom. And when a politician starts talking about abolishing private ownership, you're not solving inequality, you're erasing liberty. And now the backlash is spreading like wildfire. And right on cue, President Donald J. Trump just called it exactly as it is. He said he's not a socialist, he is a 100% communist lunatic. Harsh words, maybe? Well, after that clip went viral, it really doesn't sound so far-fetched anymore, does it? Drop a yes or no down below, guys. Trump's attack was dismissed. At first, it was dismissed as a campaign rhetoric, but then the video dropped, the video evidence, and it flipped the entire narrative. And so now, every moderate Democrat, they're scrambling to distance themselves, essentially trying to spin Mamdani's comments as out of context. Yeah, okay. Meanwhile, Mamdani just keeps doubling down, claiming that he's a democratic socialist who wants fairness. But here's the thing, guys. Socialism with the word Democrat in front of it is kind of like a wolf with a name tag that says house pet. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you really want a wolf as a house pet. Drop a yes or no down below if you understand. The language war isn't about semantics, it is about survival, okay? Let's not act like we're as naive as they want us to be, okay? Because the moment that voters stop recognizing the difference between a free market and a managed state, it is game over for small businesses, for property rights, and for individual choice. I mean, you may as well just say that martial law is about to be instated. You understand where we're going here, right? I mean, the language is not about the semantics. It is about survival, okay? And so President Trump saw that danger years ago, and now he is watching the so-called progressive experiment spiral into the exact same trap. And we had better watch out. Now, people don't go out buying gold because they love shiny metal. No, they buy it because they love security, because it feels good to finally be in control again. And this is what Noble Gold Investments has been helping thousands of Americans rediscover. No scripts, no pressure, just honest questions like, what would it mean for you to never have to worry about the next crash again? Or how would it feel to know that your retirement can't be printed away? And once people start answering honestly, they don't need any convincing. They convince themselves. And so this is why I partnered with Noble Gold Investments, because they empower people to make confident, independent decisions. And this is why so many Americans are already calling Noble Gold right now. They're protecting their future, just like most smart people are doing this year. So click the link down below, visit RonYatesGold.com to get your free wealth protection kit. I left a link for you down below. And just like most people, you'll probably say that just makes sense. And of course, if you'd like to speak to a live person on the phone, you can do that too. Their phone number is 877-646-5347. And tell my friends over at Noble Gold Investments that Ron says hello. All right. So guys, we need to talk about one of Mamdani's most insane ideas yet. These so-called city-run grocery store programs. His plan to launch a $60 million pilot project with one government-owned store in each borough. He claims it's about food justice and ending food deserts. But here's the truth, guys. It is about control. Mamdani's dream isn't to help working-class families afford groceries. No, it is to inject government into the one place that Americans still have daily freedom of choice: our food supply. Now, once the city owns the shelves, they own the prices, they own the vendors, they even decide what you're allowed to buy. You guys remember the DMV, right? Endless lines, horrible service, no accountability. And so now imagine that same bureaucracy deciding if you get milk, meat, eggs, or maybe they ration it and tell you how much you can buy. I mean, we've already seen how this story ends in other countries. It is always the same: empty shelves, corruption, and ration cards. And as President Trump said last week, when the government starts selling your groceries, it is only a matter of time before they start deciding what you can and cannot eat. Now, this is not progress. This is state-run control disguised as compassion. And the very people who actually see this disaster that's coming from a mile away, well, it's the small business owners. It's the bodegas that actually keep New York alive. These aren't Wall Street tycoons. These are immigrants who came to America for freedom to build something of their own. And now they're terrified. Dozens have already spoken out, warning that a single taxpayer-funded grocery store chain can crush hundreds of family businesses overnight. Now, one owner said it perfectly: cancer starts with a single cell. Now, if you don't stop it, it spreads. This is what Mamdani's grocery store scheme represents: a cancer on private enterprise. He's got $60 million in public funding to undercut shops that pay rent, that pay taxes, and that serve their neighborhoods. So how is that fair competition? It's not. Exactly. It is economic warfare. Even John Castemenes, who owns Gristedes Supermarkets, warned that he might shut down his stores entirely if Mamdani wins this election. Now, think about that for a second. A multi-million-dollar business threatened because a politician wants to play grocery clerk? I mean, come on. This is not innovation. This is clearly sabotage. And the people who he claims to be helping will be the first to lose their jobs, lose their shops, and lose their dignity. Now, folks, this isn't paranoia. This is pattern recognition. We've already seen this before. Every single thing that Mamdani is proposing echoes the blueprint of failed regimes of the past. Think about it, okay? Seizing property, controlling production, government-run stores. This is the Soviet starter pack. I mean, we've already seen this play out before. From Moscow to Havana, the shelves start out full, the slogans sound noble, and then boom, the economy collapses. Bread lines, empty stores, empty shelves, families starving while party officials live like kings. And then everyone starts like preparing and stocking up food because they know that the government is going to probably starve them out. Refugees from Cuba are already warning New Yorkers, saying, we've already lived this nightmare. Now, one man, he held up a single bag of lentils, the monthly ration for his family back home, and said, this is what the government groceries look like. Now, that phrase right there that he used, seize the means of production, this is straight out of Marx's manifesto. Lenin used it to justify state terror, but now Mamdani is using it to justify equity. The packaging has changed, sure, but the poison hasn't. And so when the government owns production, they own you. And history shows that when communists promise fairness, they're delivering famine. This is not an exaggeration, folks. This is a fact that is backed by a century of human suffering. Now, picture what happens if New York City, the Big Apple, the financial capital of the world, hands the keys over to a man who openly despises capitalism. The consequences could be catastrophic. Business leaders are shaking in their boots. Banks, hedge funds, Fortune 500 companies have already started quietly moving money out of Manhattan. They've already seen what happens when government hostility kills growth. I mean, just look at San Francisco, look at Chicago, look at Detroit, okay? Real estate developers, they're terrified as well. When Mamdani talks about affordable housing for all, he's not talking about reforms. He is talking about forced redistribution. You think billion-dollar companies are going to stick around to be vilified, taxed, and regulated into extinction? Not a chance of that happening. And President Trump Trump already knows that. Just last week, he warned if Mamdani wins, Wall Street will flee overnight. And he's right. I mean, the first to leave will be the employers. The second will be the taxpayers. And then the last to leave, well, it's going to be the middle class. And they will be left standing in a hollowed out shell of what used to be America's greatest city. And it's not just New York's problem. This is a warning for every American city that is flirting with socialism. And so now, before we go any further, let me go ahead and ask you something. Imagine opening a bill for $800, unexpected, by the way. An unexpected $800 bill hits your mailbox because your Medicare plan didn't cover what you thought it did. This is the reality for just way too many retirees across America today. This is why I partner with Chapter, folks. They're going to review your Medicare coverages so that you aren't blindsided by fine print or rising costs. Their licensed advisors search every plan available so that you don't have to guess what's covered or fear those surprise bills in the mailbox. Now, one of our viewers, she said to me, Chapter saved me from a bill I could have never paid on my own. Now, think about that, guys. Real people getting real relief out here simply because they took 10 minutes to check. So let me ask, are you ready for surprises, or are you going to do what most people already are and avoiding them? Now, most people are already calling the phone number right there at the bottom of your screen, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. And of course, that phone number again is 909-563-8279. Oh, and just so you know, this isn't theory. These are real results. Just listen to what Carrie Wood said. She said, Chapter saved me money and gave me a great deal with Medicare. Thanks. Now, if you haven't checked your plan yet, now is the time, folks. Now, I want to connect the dots because this part should send chills down your spine. You guys remember what happened to President Trump in the New York courts? Drop a yes if you remember the bogus court trial that claimed Mar-a-Lago was worth only like $18 million. The judge who fined him nearly $500 million and then tried to strip away his business license. This is what a weaponized legal system looks like. Now, imagine that same broken court system in the hands of a full-blown communist sympathizer like Zohran Mamdani. He doesn't have to seize your property with tanks. He can do it with judges, with zoning boards, with fairness taxes, okay? All wrapped in a legal jargon that sounds like equity. You speak out against him, you're obstructing progress. You refuse to sell your property at his price, all of a sudden, you're being investigated. This is how authoritarian power works, guys. It doesn't come all at once, it creeps in. And the people cheering this on don't realize that they're next, because once courts start becoming political weapons, they stop protecting everyone. And when the state can take what it wants, whenever it wants, you're not a citizen anymore. You're a subject. But here's the part that's just blowing everyone's mind. Mamdani's support isn't just coming from radical activists or union halls. It's actually coming from college-educated voters. Polls are showing nearly 57% of them are backing him. And you got to ask yourself, why? Why are the most educated people in America supporting a man who openly flirts with communism? The question, or really the answer, is in the indoctrination. Look, universities today, they don't teach critical thinking. They teach conformity. Generations of students have been fed the idea that capitalism equals greed, that success equals privilege, and that government control equals compassion. They have never lived through these failures of socialism themselves, so they romanticize it. Now, one viral clip shows a young Mamdani supporter saying that she's fine with higher taxes if it means free healthcare, but she admitted that she didn't know where she's going to end up Friday night. That's not policy, guys. That is confusion being weaponized. Now, President Trump, he called it years ago. They're teaching kids to hate America. And now those same kids are voting for politicians who would dismantle it piece by piece. It's not ignorance. It is programming. So now, make no mistake, Zohran Mamdani isn't some political fluke. He is part of a growing, coordinated movement that is spreading across America's biggest cities. Minneapolis, Seattle, Chicago, Portland, you name it. Each one of these cities now has their own version of Mamdani running for mayor or for city council. In Minneapolis, candidates are calling to defund police and legalize encampments. But in Seattle, they're pushing city-owned solar panels, government-funded housing bonds, and permanent welfare expansions. Every platform sounds different, but the playbook is the same. Destroy private enterprise, replace it with government control, and then rebrand it as equity. These people are not random. They're connected through activist networks, think tanks, and social media echo chambers that coordinate strategy and messaging. They have realized something very powerful. Local elections can shift national culture faster than Congress ever could. So while Washington debates, radicals take over your backyard. This is how it starts. One city at a time, one pilot program at a time, right up until you wake up and you realize that the country that you grew up in doesn't exist anymore. President Trump warned that socialism would creep in through the cities first, and right now, New York is ground zero. Now, this is it, folks. This is it. In fact, the moment that New York decides whether it stands for freedom or it falls for control, because if Mamdani wins this, it won't just be another mayoral upset. It will be the signal that America's greatest city has fallen to socialism and the rest of the country is next. Now, we've already seen how fast these bad ideas spread, right? Once New York adopts them, DC follows, then California, then your own hometown. Now, this election isn't just about New York. This is about the soul of the United States under President Trump's leadership. This is why President Trump was right to sound the alarm. He saw the pattern years ago: weaponized courts, indoctrinated voters, and politicians who hide communism behind compassion. And tonight, every American should be asking themselves, if it can happen in New York, where won't it happen? So I'll leave you with this, guys. Share this video. Comment below if you have lived through communism. Let people know exactly what's at stake, because if Mamdani wins this, it is not just a political loss. It is the opening act of America's next great fight for freedom. Like, subscribe, share, and stay awake, America. The storm has arrived.